Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode. Today we are talking with Karlee Moore from George H. Moore Mortgage Services. Wow, that was a mouthful. Good morning. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, Jenny, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I met you at an event that she put together with another real estate agent. I thought it was like such a great idea when she had like the plumber, she had a mortgage agent, she had a lawyer, and her just talking all about how to get into real estate or purchasing your next house. I thought that was such a great idea. So that is where I met Karlee. So Karlee, did you want to tell us a bit about your journey and how you got started?
You bet. Yeah. We met at that seminar, which was great. That was put on by Alexandra Grant. And I think we have another one coming up in the fall. We're working on maybe a downsizing one. So stay tuned for that. But credit to Alexa on that. She puts together some really cool seminars. But in terms of my journey, happy to chat about that. It was so my dad is the George of George H. Moore Mortgage Services. And I never really thought too much about kind of what he did in terms of his career. I just kind of grew up with him doing mortgages, my whole life. And so I actually was in the winemaking world. I was making wine, growing grapes, and happy doing that. But I always kind of wanted to be self employed. And so one day I was kind of thinking about people who are my age whose parents owned wineries. And I'm like, oh, how lucky are they? Because they basically are self employed. They get to work for family and, they get to make wine. And then I thought, oh, well, my dad runs his own business. I'm like, I wonder if I would be interested in that at all. And so I chatted with him a little bit about it. And he's like, why don't you take the course and just see if you like it? And so I'm like, okay. So I took the course and I fell in love with it. I've always been more of like a numbers person, and I've always been interested in finance and real estate. So I took the course and just really, really enjoyed it. I loved working with my dad. And so basically, like, he runs the brokerage, and then I'm an agent at his brokerage, and we do mortgages, and it's been awesome. So I was doing mortgages and the wine world at the same time, but I kind of reached a point where I couldn't do both anymore. And so I chose to do the mortgages, and really, really happy with that. It's been an awesome journey. Lots of fun.
That's awesome. Well, at least you can still drink the wine, right?
Yeah, and I still make it at home. I still have fun making wine. I have a few vines planted in my backyard, and my folks have some vines on their property too. So I still make wine. It's more of a hobby now, which is great.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. So do you have like any tips or anything like that for self-employed people getting mortgages? Because I know it's a little bit trickier when you're self-employed, but yeah, we'd love to hear some tips on that.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So typically, what I see with self employed clients is that, especially if you're a sole proprietor, you tend to write off a lot of expenses to get that net income nice and low so you don't pay as much in taxes, right? Which is great. But what we are looking at when we're qualifying you for a mortgage is that net income. And we're specifically looking for a 2 year average to show consistency in your business and in your income. But it's that net income that we're looking at. And so if you are a self-employed individual, you're hoping to get a mortgage, or your renewals coming up, or you want to refinance, then reach out to me or your favorite mortgage professional nice and early so that we can help you structure how much you should really declare to have the mortgage amount that you want. So that's one scenario, and that's kind of how we can qualify you for in a traditional sense. But there are alternative ways we can qualify you as a self-employed borrower so that you can still have the benefit of having that nice low net income on your tax return and pay less taxes. But we can actually look at 12 months history of your bank statements, and there's some lenders who will allow us to kind of look at income that way. So honestly, it depends on each client's sort of personal circumstance and what's going to make the most sense. Does it make the most sense to declare a higher income, or maybe it makes the most sense to look at these alternative products, alternative lenders? So a couple tricks there is, yeah, just look for that consistent income, and reach out to your mortgage person nice and early so you can kind of structure it how you want it to be.
I was always thinking like, oh, I have to have 20% down payment because I'm self-employed. And then when we were at that event, you were like, no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is kind of a misconception, right? And I think, I mean, probably in the past, a lot of self-employed borrowers have had to go that alternative route. And in that case, you would need to have that higher down payment. But to purchase, traditionally, if you've got a net average of a certain amount of income and we can make the debt servicing work, then yeah, 5% minimum, that's the way to go for sure.
5% sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's especially now, right? It's so tough for people to save up and it's life's expensive and just setting that extra money aside to save up, it's really challenging. So even 5% can be tough when these home prices are pretty high. So it's not
Yeah,
easy out there, but
I see they're coming down. They're coming down.
yeah,
A
coming down a
little.
little. Yeah.
So, where are you located? Are you virtual or like how
Yeah,
does that work?
great question. So I'm virtual. So I work from my home. I'm in Picton in the county, and we do everything. We do everything virtually. So I do a lot of videos, Zoom calls, and then phone call, email sort of thing. So it's nice. I find a lot of clients actually prefer that. It's just a little bit more convenient for everyone. And sometimes it's hard, especially if there's a couple borrowers. It's hard for all of us to meet and schedule a time, especially when people are working, well, a lot lately. So what I'll do is record a lot of videos for people. I structure I do a custom budget for every single client, and so I'll usually just record a video of me going through that for them, and then they can watch it on their own time and then come back to me with questions. So try to make it as convenient as possible for everyone and make the process nice and smooth.
Oh, that's awesome. We use Loom here. So our clients, when they need to know how to do something, we show them. And so
Yep.
they have it. So next time they're like, oh crap, I forgot. They can go
Nice.
back and look at their Loom. So,
Yeah, that's
well,
smart. I
thank you
played around
so
with it.
much for being here.
My pleasure.
It's been great chatting with you, and I love all your expertise. I was very well informed after that event. So I was like, I gotta have Karlee on.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. And I love what you're doing with the podcast. Like I watched a few episodes and it's great. It's offers a lot of insightfulness to other business owners, but it's also cool that you shed light on some local businesses. So kudos to you.
Yeah. Well, I love businesses and I love what other people are doing. So I'm just like, oh, that's so exciting. I need to get that out to people.
That's awesome. I love it.
So we will drop all Karlee's information into the show notes. So if anybody wants to reach out to her, they can do so. And thank you so much for being here, Karlee.
Well, thanks again for having me.